Hello, everybody, and welcome back into the Millimeter SEA Qualifiers. We are here with Signature.Trust versus Execration, game number 2. Game number 1 was a frickin' barn burner. It was one of the best games I've seen in a long time, and for SEA Dota, it had huge implications. Signature.Trust and Execration vying for a top 2 spot along with TNC in this group, and it is a good one. These two teams have played very well in the past, and they have a lot of history, but they're looking to further that history as we move forward here into the draft, into game number 2. My name is Malt, with me is Nahaz. How did you feel about that game as it progressed? I mean, we talked about how there was that early game aggression from Signature.Trust, but then Execration all of a sudden, seemingly out of nowhere, against so many of these good items, the Crimson Guard, the mech they had. How did Execration actually just pull that off, really?
I think the best thing about that game was that we got to see moments that every single player on Signature Dota 2 shown, right? From Abed's early game, on Execration really shined. Abed's early game and mid game on Invoker to the last like ridiculous ultra kill on Kimmel's Witch Doctor. Yeah. Every single player on their team had a moment where they really changed the game.
Yeah, I think it kind of came with Abed on the Invoker, and we talked about how, okay, it's fine that they get behind, and it's fine that Nando doesn't have the best farm. Maybe if you're Signature.Trust, you could actually deal with, I think, the Ancients and maybe try to be aggressive towards them, but, you know.
But those were hard fights. I mean, you mentioned earlier, they were winning fights against, like, 3 and 4 different sustain items out of the side.
And not to mention a Photic Shield and the Healing Ward that they had.
Yep.
It's just they had a lot of burst, too.
So we got a draft, brother.
We do. We do have a draft. We're going to jump right into it as we have the again, and we were just talking about this, and I'm going to bring it up immediately. Everybody in the world is picking up Doom, literally everyone, and I don't understand the reason to not ban it, but maybe there's something, and we were talking about it. Maybe it's just we don't know what the good heroes are. You know, you can ban it. You think you could get it, so you don't ban it out, and obviously Signature.Trust do secure it for themselves. I mean, and not to say that Abba played a good Doom last game, but he didn't do much. I feel like he got shut down a lot, so maybe they think, okay, we could deal with it. We can give it away. We're Execration. We have an idea of how to play up against it. So maybe
I don't know. He got a lot done in that bottom lane. It was a big part of why Nando was really suffering for the majority of that game on his gyrocopter. That Abaddon Doom dual lane just completely punished him earlier on in the laning phase.
Yeah, I mean, that did so much work. Nando had, again, we talked about how he had so little CS, but again, and all it comes down to is like 1 or 2 stacks.
Yep.
I mean, well, 1 or 2 big, big stacks for Ancients for the gyrocopter, and 1 or 2 good team fights, and then boom, you're in.
Interesting Meepo and Oracle bans here.
Yeah, I mean, we saw a little bit of Meepo coming out in the NA region from DC. Spectre is going to be the choice. This is something that we saw all the time from Lakel's in the last patch. Here were the 2 heroes. Okay, did we get Medusa? Has it been banned out? No. Can we get Spectre? Yes. Okay, we probably win. If they get one of those 2 heroes, their win rate was like 70 to 80%.
And not surprisingly from a carry of Lakel's pedigree. We know that he can farm. We know that he can fight. I like this going in a little bit of a different direction, despite the Doom open. You gave your push strat a good try in the last game. Let's do something different. Let's go. This is, when you boil it all down, when you look at TNC at the top of this group and the way they're playing, this is effectively an elimination game for Signature.Trust.
I agree with you, especially because they did 1-1 TNC. If they had 2-0 TNC, they'd be in a very good spot. I mean, any team that could 2-0 TNC would be in a good spot. Execration, of course, they pretty much need this 2-0 because they did get 2-0 by TNC. Mm-hmm. So this is a huge game. 1 point already going for Execration, which I think ties them up with Signature.Trust. I have it somewhere here. No, actually, it puts them to 5 points. So now they are squarely ahead of Signature.Trust. It's 5 and 5 for TNC and Execration, and Signature.Trust is still at 3. And I think there is one more series to be played after this. I might be wrong about that.
Yeah, so that's what I was thinking. That's what I thought. This is effectively an elimination game.
Yeah, there's one more series because Signature.Trust still have to play the Mongols, which, of course, Signature.Trust also, Execration 2-0'd them, I believe, and so did TNC, I believe. So, yeah, I mean, it is. You're right. Signature.Trust really need to win here. That's what it comes down to when it's all said and done. So if you're Sig.Trust, you go with what you're comfortable with, even if it's not as good on this patch, which I think Spectre is still completely fine. I like the fact that they get Earth Spirit. They have a lot of good damage early on. Lockdown-wise, maybe they could use a bit more, especially with the Boulder Smash nerf.
Not necessarily feeling the Lich pick, though. If you look at right now, the cooldown reduction, the cooldown increase on a sacrifice in 6.7b, Lich now assuming that the ability is always off cooldown, gets almost exactly the same XP per second out of that ability. And now, because of the fact that the mana restore was increased but proportionately less, and that you're mostly sacrificing range creeps, you're getting a lot less mana. So you can make a very good argument that Lich actually got a net nerf.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what we've been seeing across most of the other regions. But for some reason, SEA is just like, yeah, we're going to keep picking Lich and banning it first overall. We think this hero's still good. For some reason. And shocker, there's a Slardar pick. It's funny how a month ago, or like, all right, let's say 2 months ago, Slardar gets picked like every game. A month later, there's a small nerf, he doesn't get touched again for like ever. And then here he gets picked like every game that I've seen.
Well, but it's interesting. I always like to track how heroes like this evolve in the metagame. And a couple months ago, it was pretty much universally agreed that his kit was so good that you could pick him at every game, even though teams were only really running him in one role,
right.
that being the offlane. And after the nerf to his ultimate, it really took the reemergence of the safe lane starter so that you had that additional tactical that additional strategic option running him offlane or safe lane to bring him back into the meta.
And that's even further now with the armlet change, which everyone loves, especially in America. It's often picked. It's often armlet first into blink dagger after that.
People didn't appreciate, I think, at first how good that armor change is. When you look at the sort of stereotypical weakness of the strength hero, you need attack speed and you need armor, and now armlet addresses those two needs very easily for an item that's very low cost. I mean, we're seeing routinely safe lane strength carries get that at like the 8-minute mark.
Yeah, I mean, this is just something that everybody loves about Slaughter. But the thing is, we didn't even see the armlet last game, but I feel like it was more like, okay, well, let's get a blink dagger, let's find crushes, and then, oh, we just won the game suddenly out of nowhere. Like, he had a 4-staff after that, and it's not like he built into much else. So, but that's the thing. He built into that old offlane style of build, and it worked out for him. But I don't know if that's going to be the case for every Slaughter player in every Slaughter game. That is a Zeus ban, which is interesting.
I think that may be a little bit of a misstep, depending on what they want to play. That Puck Spectre combo was actually so huge at Starlighter.
I would not be surprised to see a Puck coming out from Signature.Trust. My pro has, I think, a pretty wide hero pool. Quap's something that he could pick, but I'm not sure if he wants to play that.
Yeah, I like the control factor here a little bit better.
Yeah, I mean, and a Puck, another hero that just was off the face of the map for a while and then comes back seemingly out of nowhere.
Is this a Lone Druid mid?
Well, if they do, they can send the Lich there and have a dual lane, and it is the My Pro Quap, so that's good. But I'm not sure. I don't see why not. I mean, it kind of has to be, I think, because they're going to send probably Tim's in the offlane again.
It is Abed, yeah. I think this is a Lone Druid mid. I think that's a really good call.
That's interesting. All right. I mean, I guess I'm okay with that, but it's not bad against Quap, I think. It allows you to
especially with the you hit on the key factor early on, and that's the fact that you have that sort of Lich as a little bit of just a forgiveness factor.
Yeah.
In terms of getting that Lone Druid off to the early start, he's going to get level 5 that much earlier. He's going to get that root.
Yeah, that's true. I hope that he could he's gankable. Do they have enough? I mean, like you have an Earth Spirit. He's a very ganking hero. You have Bane, who's okay at ganking. I mean, they have a Doom who can rotate out of the offlane and try to go for a kill as well. I mean, the Lone Druid should be able to stay alive though through the most part, especially if Lich is there. But again, you can put pressure on the Lich as well, and it's not like Lich deals with early game pressure very well. If you get rotated on, you're not going to have a great time. But I don't know if it's going to be the Earth Spirit pick is really the concerning thing for me, because I feel like this hero is still okay, but I have not seen it played successfully recently.
No, and we have seen some Earth Spirits really struggle today. We saw a couple hours ago an Earth Spirit that was level 5 at 18 minutes.
Yeah, that's bad.
And yeah, you're just the hero becomes game losing at that point. But teams are still, as long as this hero's kit is what it is right now, teams are just going to pick it because you hit that spell combo properly. And
yeah, that's the thing. If you miss, it's so detrimental to miss one rolling boulder or miss one boulder smash to set up something, especially early on in the game, because that gets you your experience, that gets you up to your next item or whatever. That it's so important. And the thing is too is that I really like what Execration did. They TP'd in on RR. They put that ward up. Meanwhile, they're going to Magic Missile Abba and make sure they can secure the bottom rune spot. But they put this ward here over at the top rune spot. So, and that's a common place for the Earth Spirit to look for, maybe like be on the high ground and come in with a rolling boulder and like walk in and something like that.
But look at the pings playing out. That's the Slara that's pinging the exact ward location. That's going to get D-warded.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, they will have to invest in. They have the sentries currently on the Vengeful Spirit who I actually, yeah. So they deward that one. I'm more concerned about this observer ward though for Jabs. Oh, and he dewards it too. They both get dewards.
Wait.
Is that? They saw that.
Is he just? Yeah,
He's just
gonna
gonna leave
give
it for
that
my
to
pro
his
for 100 gold.
right.
That's fine.
Very smart.
I'm okay with that. It's a bounty rune that he got as well as a.
And she goes
award.
ahead and uses it. She goes ahead and uses the Tango on the ward.
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't think there's a lot of early game pressure coming out from a lone druid at this point. Maybe a Lich, but Lich is not here, by the way. Lich is, I think, up in the top lane with Nando. Yeah, Chemo's up here with Nando, which is, again, it's that aggro dual lane, but this is against a defensive tri-lane.
Yeah.
And you really want to secure your Spectre farm. Some teams like Fnatic will make it so, like, okay, we don't really prioritize our Spectre that much, and she can come back with a couple of haunts. Looks like they really want to prioritize Kells' farm here as much as possible.
Yeah, and because you spent those wards mid, they really have nothing in the way of wards in the Dire jungle to contest these pull camps.
Yeah, and so you're gonna see Execration go for a full-on aggressive tri-lane here against that of the Spectre.
Ooh.
This is something you'll see like in pubs all the time, and I don't know. This could be great if they could find a kill. There is certainly a lot of damage from Execration, and there's not that much yet from Signature.Trust. They need a couple levels, I think, to be good, but we'll wait and see.
My pro winning the mid lane matchup fairly handily, as you might expect.
This is his hero, man. He loves his hero. I've seen him play it a
Yeah.
lot. So he knows how to do a lot of stuff with Quap, and I'm sure he's going to continue to see us well. I mean, he's already got the bear really low. He's going to walk up. Shadow Strike's going to go. That'll be onto the lone druid himself, and my pro just continues to harass. RR's nearby. He's going to try to, like, throw at a stone or at least get close enough to do so. And my pro is just playing so well, and he's even got the backup of Jabs nearby to help out and push back RR. And so the lone druid is just like, he's going to lose this bear if he's not careful. My pro could blink, scream it. I don't think he wants to. He'd be in tower range, but it's a possibility for him to get that kill.
No, I mean, at this point, you've got a nice solid lane start. There's no reason to do anything crazy. You know, those denies, again, become even more significant when you're talking about the XP bounties for these range creeps now.
All right, what else is happening? They are keeping around Jabs. We haven't seen that first rolling boulder yet, which is interesting.
I really like, though, how Signature.Trust have responded to losing that first game.
Oh, the courier! RR gets the courier snipe.
No.
He had no vision of that coming out. He just had a haster, and he had a prayer. That was pretty much it.
The caster curse is real.
Wow, that's unbelievable.
Just talking about how they've tightened up their early game so much, and that happens.
I mean, at least they didn't have the bottle on it. That's probably the biggest thing.
Sure.
I mean, they lose a bit of gold. They lose the courier for a minute and a half or a minute 45 or whatever. But that's not the worst thing in the world. They didn't give up first blood. Jabs is going to rotate all the way down towards bottom. Musical Lanes is going on as Tim's is now here down at the bottom lane against Abba. And they're going to rolling boulder, and it's going to miss. He didn't put the boulder or the stone remnant down.
Ouch.
So that was a wide swing and a miss. That just wasn't good at all. Top lane, they're going to go for the crush. Lakel's is in trouble. They've already used the Frost Blast, but Boombell's going to be here to save him with the help of the Nightmare. They had roaming in RR, but he just wasn't in position in time. And so their first bit of aggression on Lakel's top lane stops him from farming. They're shutting him down in terms of CS, and they're going to try to go on Boombell instead. They were looking for a Slithering Crush. Great three-man frickin'... Actually, it's only two-man Spectral Dagger. It split up. That was pretty cool. It kind of forked out at the end there, but...
And kind of a stalemate in the laning phase thus far. And unlike the previous game, you don't necessarily have either of these two lineups that clearly outscales the other.
Now bottom. Tim's.
I guess with the Spectre.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's just... I really think that they could try to prioritize Lakel's farm more, but I don't know if that's the best idea. My pro is going to have to do some work in this game.
What else can you do, right? Yeah, I mean, you've already got the defensive trial.
All right, he gets entangled. There's the Savage Roar Magic Missile. He's actually just dead. Oh, my God, he lives with 30 HP. He should have been dead there. I don't know how he lives. They did that perfectly. They Savage Roared so he wouldn't blink away. They Magic Missile to make sure they actually got the stone off, and he should have died. But that's, I think, just a GG branch saving his life at the end there. That's nuts.
That's huge. That would have catapulted the Lone Druid to a pretty convincing position in that lane.
He has to go all the way back home to regen up, and this will give room for Abed, who had a stellar performance. And again, you have to remember, he played the Invoker last game. He was a little further behind. Magic Missile, Boombell might get caught out. They have the Frost Blast. That'll go. The Nightmare will come first. Now they're going to TP in another. Meanwhile, Tim's will finally get the first blood down bottom onto the Doom, but back towards the top, it's going to be Mypro jumping. He gets the Shadow Strike off. R is going to be the next target. They don't have anything to slow him down with it. They already used the Spectral Dagger, the Shadow Strike, and then no Nightmare for 9 seconds as well. So that'll be the end of the engagement. But First Blood does go for Tim's down bottom. That is a huge pickup, a huge start. He's up to 1,300 gold. He might just go right into his early Necro 1 here. Yeah. And he's going to try to go to town on jabs as well.
You know, what some of that boils down to is actually the failed rotation of the Earth Spirit earlier split a little bit of the XP up so that the Beastmaster at level 6 before the Doom.
Well, where do we go from here now? Lakel's is sitting on 90 last 6. He's caught up pretty well. They're looking to wrap around again with R and go for the Magic Missile, and he's picked up a Windlace too, so he's got some extra move speed. Lakel's picks up Phase though. He'll get an Urn, I imagine, at some point in time. This is just going to be a very, I think, slow game. We're going to wait and see that Midas again come out. This is not going to be the game where you get the Midas and drum and then all of a sudden you fight for the Lone Druid. He's going to continue to farm and farm and farm until he feels comfortable. It's not going to be... It's going to be a very, very long time, I feel like.
It's hard to blame either team. I mean, these teams know what's on the line as well as we do.
Right.
Both of these teams, you're not going to see any cheese in this game.
No, I don't think so. They're not. This is no pushing strat. They're just trying to play Dota, and they're just trying to play against the best possible teams.
Boy.
And now Tim's has to roar as the Inferno Blade is there. R gets a boulder smash off. Actually, the Geomagnetic Grip as they're looking for Abba. He dove too deep. Great rotation, but the boulder smash stops them from progressing further, but they should still get this kill with the boar slow. Good stick charge. Doom will come out. They have to deny him now at this point. Can get the boar deny or RR deny. It looks like it'll be the latter. No!
No!
Oh, no, my lord. He didn't have any damage.
Not like this.
Wow, that's hilarious. Did the armor from the tower actually...
Yeah, yes.
It must have. That's hilarious.
That was pretty close.
That's hilarious. Oh, man. That's funny.
It's hilarious. Love you, dude.
I can't even... That shouldn't happen. That guy's mad. I'd be mad at him. I'd be mad at the tower if I were him. Top lane, they're going to come in. Boombell's looking for a Nightmare initiation here. Nando's going to TP out. Good Frostblast slow to make sure he can't get to the tree line and find him, and he wouldn't have had the time for the animation anyways. Abba TP'd up there as well without Doom to try to find something in the snare. So another missed gank opportunity, and Abed is now top in CS as MyPro has been rotating around.
I will say I am a little bit impressed with the restraint. If I were that Beastmaster, I would probably still be pinging my
I'd be pinging
now.
like crazy, yeah.
Yeah.
I would all chat, good game, Valve. Nice, good stuff. Thank you for that. You gotta somehow account for the armor roar, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what you do in that situation, but they get the tower down bottom, and even though he did go down, he is very close to getting his Necro 1. There's a couple of heroes rotating over, including Jabs, and he's going to find R. They're going to battle for this 8-minute rune. Magic Missile comes out. Boulder Smash. He's got Arcanes now for the Vengeful Spirit. He's got to build into Aether Ones almost assuredly. And it comes down to Lakel's again. Just how's he doing? Getting his urn up? Yeah. He's got his phase.
And at the end of the day, we're talking about a 2.5k gold lead for Execration, which is, very similar to the lead that they had in the last game or the lead that Signature.Trust had in the last game at this point. But this is a lineup that's not necessarily supposed to be ahead at this point.
Yeah, I mean, MyPro probably should have done better in lane. I mean, he almost died. They had some good rotations coming out. He went to kill top early, and he got one kill out of it, but he missed out on a lot of CS too. So that was the trade-off. And Abed's just farming well now. He has his Midas, and this is a hero that can take this to the late game. He's not a Juggernaut where if he builds Battle Fury, maybe he could get kills, maybe he can't. If his bear will do enough. His bear will. They had that Signature.Trust had such a problem taking down towers last game. That's not going to happen for Execration this game. They have demolished for Lone Druid for God's sakes, and it's already up. Not to mention the Beastmaster. So pushing's not going to be a problem. Meanwhile, there's a smoke, and I think it was broken as Abba as well as Jabs are looking for Tim's. RR, his smoke is broken. There's the Doom coming out. Jump in, Sonic Wave on it, with a Script Pan. They're going to kill Abed and RR almost instantly. The Ensnare comes out. They're going to take 3 down. Execration, so much for that 2K lead. MyPro gets a double kill. And that was beautifully initiated with the Haunt right on top of it, and Lakel's gets involved as well. That's huge.
Yeah, there's really nothing not to like about that sequence if you're a Signature.Trust fan. It's just well-timed, well-executed, and it, like you said, it just almost completely erases that lead.
Yeah, what is the net worth lead now? Pretty much nothing. 500, it's still going down after this tower. It will be probably even. And they're not going to get it, though. Even without Glyph, they're going to leave, and this is a smart play from Signature.Trust. Don't bite off more than you can chew.
Oh, it's in deny range now, though.
Yeah, it just got put there barely, and it's gonna get denied up. It looks like there's a couple of illusions trying to take it down, but that's not going to happen. So they'll deny the tier 1 tower, and so some extra gold that could have gone the way of Signature.Trust will fall by the wayside. But they're still fine with that. I mean, that is going to even up the score in terms of net worth. So that's fine. But here we go. It looks like Execration, they're going to push now together as a team. They don't care.
Abba with the haste, that ulti isn't up, so not much he can bring to the table.
Yeah, they're going to get this tower for free. That's kind of interesting, but MyPro's not in a position to fight, really. Boombell, he's not looking to fight either. I mean, a lot of these people, they're just farming elsewhere.
Wow. Okay, and this would make that trade all the more acceptable.
That is a very fast Roche, but because you have Amplify damage, it is very easy with Wave of Terror on top of it. But they're going to contest this. They don't have Sonic Wave. Spectral Dagger's going to come in. They have no Haunt. This is tough for Execration to do, but if they can get it done, but the Roar comes out. Abba, he doesn't have Doom, but still the Magnetize on it too. They get off the Fiend's Grip, and Nando will fall with Tim's falling soon after, and Abed is going to have to try to TP out. I don't think he's going to make it away. The Nightmare comes out, and he'll fall, and this is now Signature.Trust's Roche. It suddenly blows up in their face, and Jobs gets another one on the Earth Spirit. He finds that kill on the Vengeful. Oh, man, Execration. What happened? They had a 2,000 net worth lead.
Initially I came into that saying that's a pretty good awareness play there by Execration, recognizing that Signature.Trust had expended a lot of their big cooldowns in that last fight to take the mid-tier 1 tower and get the 3 kills. But at the end of the day, that Earth Spirit comes in with a gigantic combo to start that fight.
That was a huge Magnetize to start things off. You're right. I mean, that did so much work. And he is now almost at his full Veil of Discord. He has 2 Null Tallies. He's got his Helm of Iron Will. This Earth Spirit is happy. Man. He's very happy, actually.
I literally think that basically every one of the 10 players in this game has done something really good at some point in this series.
Yeah, it's been a showcase for sure of just individual skill combined up with a good team play from both squads. In the last game, it was Execration coming back. Again, Execration was down. You have to remember that in that first game. So it's not it's something that you have to keep in mind, that this could still go late, and they could still take it, especially with the Lone Druid. The Slardar, he could have a bit more farm. He's 1,900 gold now. I imagine he probably just goes straight into Blink rather than buying the full armlet, but we'll wait and see.
Yeah, again, after these last couple of exchanges now, Spectre actually caught up, has a very slight, or at least a parity with the Lone Druid.
He's got his Phase Drum Urn. That's like the kit for Spectre. You haunt in and you have all of those items. And he has 3 urn charges. You should find yourself a kill, and that's how you increase your farm. Yeah, you can farm creeps and neutrals, and again, it's all about clashing in this patch, though, and they're going to find at least this Vengeful Spirit, and he's probably going to get... Oh, he doesn't actually get it off in time. He misses the Nightmare, but the Boulder Smash clips him, and R does fall. They have to haunt for that, but it's just more urn charges coming out for the kills.
Wow. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if haunt was really necessary for that. Probably.
I almost never minded just to get the Spectre in on the kill.
It seems like he could have just been top farming, though. He could have reality back maybe or something, but he didn't have anybody to help him out. Chemo as well as Nando are going to get scouted out. He did buy the Blink first, by the way, in the Slaughter, but he can now go for that armlet, and I think be fine with it because he didn't go for Tranquils.
As long as you're only expending the haunt, you still got plenty of cooldowns left to fight with.
Yeah, you have Doom up ready to go. You Magnetize, you're exactly right. And even Sonic Wave from MyPro, who's going to be building into that Aghanim Scepter here momentarily.
Yeah, they are going to be able to push Tier 1, and I'm not completely convinced that they can't just go on to Tier 2.
Nando is like thinking about blinking in, but the rest of his team is nowhere near to be found. They're kind of walking over to the Tier 2 now, but the rest of them are like split pushing elsewhere.
Yeah, Execration not in position right now to contest, and that was my big question. Signature.Trust are going to go ahead and choose to back off. They've already given up a pretty big chunk of damage on their Tier 2 bottom.
Tim's just barely got away. Abba actually had the Infernal Blade at the ready. He walked by him, and he would have gotten that kill had he had the Infernal Blade and hit him with it. But close call, and they get the Beastmaster out. RR and Chemo are going to go ahead and look around, maybe look for a D-Ward. They have a smoke up for the Lich, so I hope they don't use it on that Uber Cliff there, or close to that Uber Cliff, because that would not be good. Be scouted out immediately. MyPro as well as Boombell setting up for a kill here onto Nando. And can they get this quickly? There's the Fiend's Grip. They're probably going to Sonic Wave this just about right now. Now blink out in 5 seconds. The rest of the teams are coming. They have Aegis. They pop the haste rune. They can't catch him. They did not factor in the haste rune for the Queen of Pain. She's thinking about going back in and just getting more last hits too. MyPro is playing this beautifully. Now mid as well. It looks like they're going to find somebody with the Magnetize. Abed cannot afford to go down. He gets off a good Savage Roar, but now they get the Magnetize. Second tick off, and Lakells will find the kill. He's up to 1,500 now. you start thinking whether he wants to build into that Diffusal, Yasha, or into a Radiance, and at this point it's looking like a Radiance game for the Spectre.
Yeah, but Signature.Trust just have completely wrested control of this game in the last 5 minutes.
They got the comfort picks, man. They got the Quap, they got the Spectre. That's all they needed. I mean, obviously there was a lot of help from the working cast around them, but they're in a position where the top 3 of net worth are all of their heroes. So
I think they've done a good job evaluating trades and spending their cooldowns wisely.
I think so.
That's a big part of playing this lineup.
Yeah, I mean, it's just been like they know what they want. They're like, okay, we have vision of this guy. We're going to jump in. We're going to Fiend's Grip him, jump out. Okay, or we have vision of 3 heroes mid. We know we can take them all down. We know where the rest of those guys are. Abba is getting, however, scouted and Slurring Crush, but he's going to think about using his Doom. Here comes the Haunt as well. The Chain Frost is going to bounce. They're going to Delta Split immediately. They'll go to some of the illusions, and Lakel's actually does take a lot of damage from that. They do pick up at least 1 kill onto, I think, no, 2. They get the Lich as well as the Vengeful Spirit. And they've even doomed up now onto Nando. They're going to chase him down. The Infernal Blade is taking him, but it won't bring him down as he sticks up and stays alive. He's got his Blink up in 1. He can get out of dodge. Still not a great trade for Execration at this point. This is suddenly looking really bad, man, for Execration.
I'm sort of trying to do the mental calculus that what can Execration do to get back into the game.
I mean, I think Abed just has to split up like he's doing at Farm and get a Radiance. And if he gets a Radiance, maybe this game gets a little bit easier. But
I just don't think I don't think you have that much time.
I don't think, yeah.
Signature.Trust, good decision making again. They're going to take the Radiant Tier 2 bottom, and they know they have uncontested access to the Roche pit.
I think you maybe get one more item for Sig.Trust. You get another Roche, and you push in, and you try to clean up these Tier 2 towers beforehand. Maybe you get a couple of picks. I mean, they have the Axe from iPro now. Radiance is getting closer and closer by the minute for the Spectre, who's up to 2.7k gold, and she's going to farm more top lane while this is happening. I feel like for Execration, they just have to find really important ganks. They're going to try to do that top. They knew that the wave was pushed out. Lakel's is actually going to have somebody behind him. Boombell is in position to Nightmare if necessary. And there's more heroes coming along the wayside from the river. Jabs, Boulder Smash, great blink from Nando, but RR is maybe not going to be so lucky. He actually does TP out in time. They didn't have the Boulder Smash. No disable coming up for the Quap, obviously. So that was a good fortune of events for Execration there.
Good, quick decision-making to get both those heroes out of there.
Yeah.
That could have been disastrous.
There's that Ags that we were talking about from iPro. He's even got a Regen Rune for good measure. They want another Tier 2 tower, and I do not blame them because that's really all they need to get those objectives, get Roche, and then I think probably. Oh, by the way, I just want to point this out. This is interesting. Execration have 2 kills in this game.
Yeah,
I'm throwing that out there. I'm getting ahead of myself now. Sonic Wave comes out. RR will not die to it. The Shadow Strike will take him down, but he'll be able to get back to the well beforehand.
Yeah, but the lead by Signature.Trust, while significant, is not really as significant as the kill gap would indicate. And it's 7.5k gold advantage, 18 minutes. That's not insurmountable.
Yeah, well, if they lose this fight, it could be bad. And the Chain Frost coming through is actually a good one. They actually bounce out, and they can get Abed away. Chemo might be the sacrificial lamb, but I think they're okay with that trade. Meanwhile, the Beastmaster is just splitting it up. Sick. All right. Nahaz's computer decided to update on him. Good stuff.
Thanks, Windows.
Sorry, we got another monitor here. That's the good thing about having a casting at a hub.
Yeah, I like that.
If that was just like if we were online, it was a Skype and he's just like gone, I'd be like, what's going on?
Whoops.
My computer, I was doing a game the other day. I was doing Aseon versus Next Generation, and we didn't have a room available here. They were all filled up to the brim. And so the admins going one after the other, they were like, you need to get in the lobby. And so I had to get on my laptop, and I have OBS on it. And all of a sudden, it just blue screens while I'm in the middle of my cast. So I'm like, that's great. That's just about as good as this cast can go. Not to mention, it was a 75-minute game I did solo casting. So that was pretty fun. Yeah, that's a problem. That is actually a huge issue.
Oh, okay, all right. I don't know purchase password, so I am watching on your monitor, buddy.
All right, well.
This is like, it's totally easy mode for me. I don't even have to click.
Wow, that's kind of. I feel like I want to ask Perch to get in here. I don't know if he's still on the panel though.
Don't worry about it.
All right, here we go. Blinken. And Nando just takes down the board real quick. They're looking to apply some pressure to this Tier 1 tower now. And they've got the Necro 3 to do it. And I don't know if you take this fight. You can see Signature.Trust are thinking about it. They're not all there though. The Spectre doesn't have Haunt for another 35 seconds, but Nando's going to find himself maybe in a world of hurt. He's got Sonic Wave from MyPro ready to go.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to overcommit to that. Signature.Trust. It's a Tier 1 tower. It's fine. It's one of the least valuable Tier 1 towers on the map.
Yeah, they just let that go. I think that's fine.
Yep.
All right, so what? Buckler picks up Earth Spirit. Maybe Amekia's Arcanes can turn that into Guardian Greaves. I don't think they have that yet.
It's a lot of people talk about how various heroes scale in the late game in a vacuum, but how you scale is also a function of the position you are in the game. And when your Spectre has a lead at this point in the game already, scaling is looking very, very good for Signature.Trust.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to have the ratings here momentarily. Yep. Does the Lone Druid have it? I don't think he's close even. Where's the Bear? He's the Relic. He's going to have the ratings at the same time as the Spectre. But the Spectre obviously getting, I think, a bit more farm just through the Urn, the Drum. It's close. It's actually only a 600 difference in terms of net worth. So I think a huge ancient stack that they were taking just a second ago. That's why.
But you look at the fact that they've got a Queen of Pain and a Doom that are next in line that both scale a little better with gold than the Beastmaster and Slaughter.
Yeah, the Slaughter just doesn't seem like he's having that impact that we've seen Slaughters have in the past. And now they're going to have to back up and avoid this Smoke of Deceit gank. They scanned, but they missed out on it. Execration did, I think. No, it was actually the Sig.Trust scan.
Yeah, so interesting. Both the radiances come out there with within 30 seconds of one another.
Yeah. But I think the ratings for Lakel is going to do a bit more in these fights when the Haunt is up. And
yeah, there's no question. I mean, Lone Druid, all else equal, is supposed to have that radiance earlier.
Abed did a good job, though, farming it again. This has been, I think, his series. Like, he's done really well so far.
That Invoker game was beyond legit.
Yeah. So, above all else, I mean, and a tie at this point is not the worst thing for Execration. For Signature.Trust, I think they kind of have to tie.
Yeah, no, this is Signature.Trust really needs to win this game effectively to stay alive. They're not mathematically eliminated if they lose this game, but they need a lot of help.
Roche is up, by the way, and I think if you're Sig.Trust, I think you go for maybe a smoke. They already just smoked, though. That's the problem. You want to try to find a pick, and that's really what they were going for. I think if they had gotten a pick, though, they could back to Roche. They could maybe even take the Tier 2 tower mid, but they just didn't find anything. Really good timing play from Execration to know that Roche was about to spawn up, that they were missing from the map for the most part. There's good vision here mid with this Observer Ward. They have an Observer Ward top to see if anyone's farming there. They knew that they were missing from the map, so Execration were able to spot that out smartly. And now they're heading over into a position that they can contest Roche. But if they lose this fight, they're going to lose more than just the Roche, the Aegis, and well, not the Cheese yet, but they'll probably lose at the very least a Tier 2 tower, more than likely a Tier 3, and potentially more if they continue to fight in a bad spot. But we'll see. Signature.Trust are going to get ready to go. MyPro's building into that Orchid now, which probably will be turned into a Bloodthorn at some point.
Yeah, Signature.Trust has what they need to make sure that the fights occur on Execration's part of the map, so that if they lose a fight, the amount of material that they lose in their base is small. Whereas if they win a fight, they're able to take objectives on the opposite side. And that's Dota.
And this is I like this play. They push mid with the Spectre, and then they have everyone else from Signature.Trust just go and, well, find a courier, I guess, with nothing on it. That actually kind of blows up their spot a little bit. Like, Execration know that they're coming now. They can put themselves in a position to defend and have a good team fight. But they kind of have to TP back now, as they don't know where they're going to be coming from. Execration don't feel confident in their confident in their fight, and they just actually get away just fine.
Boy, if they know those TPs are on cooldown, where's the Roche timer?
I mean, Roche
is up. He's up.
I mean, they want to. I think you go for him if you're Sig. I don't know if you have a great Roche lineup. But that's the problem. I think they know that they don't actually do that much damage. You know, even with a Spectre, I feel like it's not like you have the Slaughter for armor reduction, the Beastmaster, as well as the Vengeful Spirit. They take it so much faster. That's the problem. You kind of have to hope to get a kill on Execration and make sure that you can secure the Roche. I'd be very surprised to see Sig.Trust go in there without a kill or some really good wave management by pushing everything towards like the Tier 2 tower areas.
You definitely, again, mentioning the comeback mechanics, you definitely don't want to lose a fight in the Roche as Signature.Trust.
Right, because we saw what happened with Execration.
Right.
I mean, that's why they're in this position in the first place. That's why they're down almost 10k gold. But we'll see. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they're going to head in there. They're again looking for an aggressive play in the enemy jungle. And that's the last place I think you want to be if you're Execration. But they're going to smoke up and head in that direction. And this could be their comeback mechanic. This could be their fight that gets them back into it. Radiance Burn could do a lot. They can get a couple of good entangles. A Slithering Crusher too. They've got Roar up. Nando's going to come in. They're going to walk to the high ground, but guess who's nearby? Boombell is going to blow up the Smoke of Deceit gank. I don't think they had vision there. I don't think Boombell actually knows that he blew it up. But
no, but Execration sure knows what happens.
They don't feel comfortable walking up now. They're like, there's somebody there. And they had Hawk too, and I think they sent him up there too, and I don't know where it went. I don't know how your Hawk just doesn't fly over there and spot out Boom Bell, but whatever.
Yeah, when 3 members of your team are all chain pinging in that same spot.
And they're just like, okay, we're going to give up. They see Lakel's. Nando is like a half-second away from going on him, probably, even under that Tier 2 tower. They'll drop him to Silver 1 down. Everybody is here from Execration. It's a party. Lakel's is playing as like far back as he possibly can. And then he's going to go, oh, don't walk up there. He's like, I don't know where they are. I have no idea. I might not be in a safe position. He makes the right play. He heads over to the Ancients with the rest of his team. And the smoke comes again. Smoke after smoke. Execration looking for something. Boulder Smash comes through. Smoke not broken yet. RR is very close to that edge. This positioning is insane.
Oh, they know. They know.
Nando's looking for Boom Bell. He's going to find him here momentarily.
Here comes.
There's the Southern Crush. He's
Oh!
just away in time. Jabs now gets roared up. He's stunned up as well. Here comes the usage of that Sonic Wave. Blows up immediately the Lich. They haunt as well, but Tim's is going to get Fiend's Grip. They're just getting destroyed. RR. And of course, Lakel's with that Radiance Burn is doing so much damage. 4 dead. And get another kill across the board with Jabs going to town. The only hero that survives is Abed. Meanwhile, Lakel's is sitting on like 150 HP. He took a lot of damage, I think, from the Radiance Burn of the Lone Druid Bear himself. But now this provides them Roche. It's not going to be the fastest Roche, but it's not going to be that bad either. And they'll be able to take Aegis and look to get more objectives here in Nahaz.
Yeah, and Execration, that's kind of the one unfortunate side effect of those multiple smoke rotations is that there's only so many places on the map you could be. Signature.Trust knew exactly what was going on there. He saw the Earth Spirit sort of send the boulder in the mid lane to check. It was a telegraph smoke rotation.
Yeah. I mean, that's the kind of play you have to make, I feel like, if you're Execration. But, I mean, when you're behind, you don't want to give up Roche. You don't want to get more advantage.
Same discussion that we were talking about Signature.Trust having to force the push to 30 minutes in the last match.
Yeah, it's definitely similar. I think you have to do something in that situation. You're behind. Sure, you have Abed to rely on, but he can't 1v5. I mean, Lone Druid's good. He's a very good hero. Even if he's far ahead, it's really hard for him to 1v5 in that situation because he's just going to get focused down. Ah, God, and Nando's just not having the impact that he wants to have, I think. And if you're Signature.Trust, you probably just wait for Haunt again. You push out top. You make sure all the waves are not being split pushed. Maybe you wait for Bloodthorn, but that's going to be a while now for my pro. They did lose their courier in that fight, I believe, but I don't think they give a damn at this point.
The 3rd courier kill of the game?
And where did it die?
Goodness.
In the Roche Pit, unsurprisingly. All right. What's the net worth graph looking like here? 12,000 is pretty good.
Pretty.
It's pretty good for Signature.Trust. Experience-wise, it's 15,000.
Yeah, again, we find ourselves once again in the situation of talking about how are you going to catch Nando up.
Well, in this game, he's
a
not a
harder,
gyrocopter,
right, exactly.
So I don't think he is going to catch up. I don't want to say the game is over, but I don't think Nando's going to be the one that's going to have the high net worth. And if he's going to do anything, it's going to be providing Slithering Crushes that turn into game-winning team fights, or at least team fights that put them back into the game. They have amp damage, so that's kind of crazy. Did they get the Purge? Yeah, Abba got the Purge group, by the way, to take off amp damage, which is huge.
Yeah, they have amp damage, but they have exactly one hero that does physical damage.
And when it gets taken off, it's not going to matter. Right. They find the bear. The Savage Roar comes out. There's going to be the Nightmare. They really want this bear. There's a resummon, obviously. There's the Boulder Smash and Shadow Strike. This is going to be 1 bear down. Nando's like, I don't want to give this away, but he's going to get doomed. Now the Haunt. I don't think you dive this. I don't think you go that far.
No.
You take this Tier 2 tower now, and you back if you're Signature.Trust. You have no Doom. You have no Haunt. And they have every other ability ready for Execration, including Roar.
Yeah, regardless of how you feel about how far they push this push.
And there it goes. Roar now into my pro. Mech comes out. Nando gets a huge stun. Chain Frost bouncing through. Good Magnetize, though, and they all still stay alive. In fact, they've taken 3. Job's going to work as well, getting another killing spree, and Lakel's is just chasing right after an Abed. Again, the only sole survivor. They have Aegis. They'll take down the second boar, it looks like, and now it's going to be maybe even close to GG at this point. They have to buy back at the Beastmaster. Lakel's is getting earned up. He still has that Aegis. I don't think he should care that much. And what a fight again. And Sonic Wave, somehow they stay all alive. Dear Lord.
It's really good discipline by Signature.Trust. They had the opportunity to overextend earlier on the dive, didn't. Went back, hit buildings.
That's how you know you're behind, man. You have no Haunt, no Doom, and you TP and you get a good roar into my pro, and I just feel like they went a little too quick. They pulled the trigger a little too quick there, and they couldn't find any kills out of it except for jabs. But who cares about that? I mean, he's worth actually a fair bit, but that's not even close to being a worthy trade. There's a freaking Aether Lens plus a 4-step on a Bane at this point, which he doesn't really need, but that's fine.
No, we mentioned it earlier, but just Signature.Trust doing a good job with cooldown management, knowing exactly how many abilities they need to win a fight at a particular location at a particular time.
Yeah, this is something we talked about with Purge. It's just that when you have long cooldowns, like even Doom and Haunt, is just fighting into the heroes when those are down. And they tried to do that, clearly, but this is just a case of being too far behind at this point. Now it's 15,000. Abed, again, he continues to lose his bear, so now he's just kind of wandering around aimlessly, like, what do? I'll try to Ancient by myself with Vlads. This will work well, I'm sure. But I don't know, because now you have a Manta up on Spectre. He's got 2k gold. He's got his ratings. We've already talked about that a fair bit. Maybe get Diffusal next for like a heart or something. If you get a heart, I'm pretty sure the game you just run high ground and you pop your Manta Illusion to go to work.
Yeah, that's part of why Spectre is so strong. We've talked a little bit on the panel so far about some of the concerns that I have with high ground in this patch being a little bit overpowered, but Spectre, just a hero that when she gets the right set of items, it's no longer a problem.
Yeah, I mean, he knows this hero. He's played it a lot, so he's very comfortable with it. There's the Crimson Guard done. A BKB picked up for Slardar. Not sure how much that's actually going to do. There's a lot of things that pure spell immunity in this game.
Yeah, when you look at, at least 3 out of the 5 heroes have a significant ability that pierces it. That's rough.
I mean, you kind of have to go for it. I understand his decision, but I really don't think they should be concerned about this tier 2 tower push, but they're probably going to go back at some point. I want them to push right now because I feel like they did just lose Aegis, so I don't think they will now. We'll see. I guess they're going to pop the Crimson Guard and go for it, and they're going to blink at Doom onto Tim's. They're going to use the usage of that Purge. I thought that was Diffusal Blade, but it's actual Purge coming out from Abba. Now they Haunt. They're really diving for this.
Oh, wow.
Magnetize, and the Sonic Wave onto everybody. They blow them all up. They're even going to send the Illusion into Abed. He's going to barely survive in the well. They're already cleaning up Nado, who popped the BKB. So much good that it's doing for you, but it's a good Fiend's Grip. Brain Sap almost breaks him down. The sprint amp damage doing a lot. They have to buy back on the Venge. Still, though, nothing left in the tank as far as abilities are concerned for Signature.Trust, so you might have to be a little bit wary there. Really can't afford to lose this bear. I guess he's got another one in 16 seconds. Not that bad. Good crush, but now there's going to be another Purge coming from Abba. The Inferno Blade, he can't afford to die. He does not have buyback. They're going to work on the Sentry Tower, and this might be it. This might be the exchange to a 1-1 tie here in this series, Naz.
I got to say, when it first happened, I thought that Doom was overly aggressive, but they weren't satisfied with one lane of rocks. They want to win the game.
They're going to kill the second bear. That bear is dead for like 100 seconds. Yeah, 110 seconds.
No, I think
that's it. You have nothing now.
Yep.
You have no Slardar for 20. If you have the Beastmaster's Necro and Roar, but he can only do so much. Meanwhile, MyPro has his ultimate back up at 22 seconds. Doom's going to be up in a while, but I mean, he's still doing a lot. I love this. I love that he got the Purge. I think it was a great decision.
Yeah, they're sticking around.
They're going to get at least 2 sets.
With, no plans to go anywhere anytime soon.
They get a Nightmare off onto the Lone Druid too. If they kill him, why not? There's the Roar coming out, and they're going to get Tim's with the Inferno Blade. There's the Purge. Another great 3-man Magnetize. Chain Frost is going to bounce to do some serious work.
Oh!
That Sonic Wave, the Magnetize, the Rolling Boulder, and everyone should get cleaned up here. Maybe not Nando. Boulder Smash is going to sail through. The last ticks of the Magnetize. Now the Slithering Crush jabs goes a bit too far in, and he's actually going to stay alive with a Guardian Greaves and Rolling Boulder out. Meanwhile, while this is all happening, Lakel's is happily heading away at this Tier 3 tower, and shortly we should be seeing the GG out here as it's a victory heart, and there it is.
There it is.
Execration, they get the first game in convincing, well, they come back from a pretty large deficit and do great with Abed, but Signature.Trust, right from the get-go, go to town on Execration, and a couple of good team fights, especially around the Roche Pit, make things absolutely beautiful for Signature.Trust.
This is one of those series that you dream of casting just because you got to see the strength of every individual player and of both teams on full display. This game, just Signature.Trust, very disciplined play, good team decision making, and they cap it all off with the 2 great wombo combos at the end.
Yeah, that was a spectacular series, I think. I mean, this game wasn't as close as game number 1. Game number 1, definitely a very heart-pumping, exciting game. We could use a little bit of a cool-off game, especially with how hot it is in here, for the love of God. So, I mean, I had a good time. I know you had a good time.
Oh, yes.
I'm excited. I think we're doing one more series for SEA.
Yeah.
I have to check and see what that is because I don't know what it is off the top of my head.
And it might be time to start talking about tiebreak scenarios.
Yeah,
too.
I think so. That is something that is going to be coming up here pretty soon. Of course, we are on the BTS3 stream. My name is Mont. With me is, of course, Nahaz. And we are going to be back with our next series, our last series of ACA for the day, and to determine maybe who makes it through and which group. We'll see. Stick around, guys. We'll see you soon.